Can everyone hear me well? Good. People online, community members, can you hear me? Thank you. Okay, we are now calling to order the regular meeting of the Ala Kaka'ako Neighborhood Board, 11 at 6:04 p.m. Roll call. Miss Camelia Gomes, if you can help us with taking the roll.
Okay. Chang,
Present.
Chi, not here. Chung, not here. Davis, not here. Perinas, Berenger, not here. Charlie,
Here.
Mariano, not here. Rice,
Here.
Vanderbrink. We have 5 members present.
Thank you, Ms. Gomes. Let's move on to public safety reports. We have the Honolulu Fire Department who are here in person, and they also submitted the report by email earlier this month. Thank you for being here tonight.
Sorry about that. Right, I'll just restart. My name is Firefighter Urasaki from the Pova Fire Station. I'll be reading off the statistics for January. So we had 3 nuisance fires, 4 cooking fires, 13 activated alarms, 175 medicals, 7 motor vehicle crashes and collisions, and 2 hazardous material incidents. Fire safety tips for the month are ways you and your family can prepare for a power outage. So prepare your supplies, ensure your flashlights, radios, etc. contain batteries that are charged. Don't forget to charge extra batteries. Prepare your family, check in with family members. If anyone relies on medical devices requiring power, ensure you plan ahead of time. Prepare your food and water. Set your fridge and freezer to the coldest settings. Keep them closed as much as possible during an outage. Fill up water containers for drinking and other needs. Protect your electronics. Unplug unnecessary electronics to prevent damage from power surges. Never touch down power lines. Always assume that the lines are energized and dangerous. For more safety tips, visit honolulu.gov/DEM. Learn more about power outages at hawaiianelectric.com/storm center. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Member Vanderbrink. And I want to acknowledge Member Mariano's arrival, 6:06 p.m.
Hi, so I just had a question. Around 3 weeks ago, there was an apparent gas leak on the corner of Kanunu and Amana Street. I was just wondering if you had any more information about what happened there.
Off the top of my head, I wouldn't know, but if you want, I can research it and I can have you have the next month, whoever comes next month, kind of reiterate what happened on that gas leak. I'm not sure because I know it wasn't us that responded. You said about 3 weeks, Kanunu, and what was the address?
Amana Street. I saw HFD and HPD close off that entire section, as well as HFD in full suited up with gas masks.
Okay.
So I think my concern just comes from there are a lot of old buildings in the area.
Yes.
And I just want to know, is it like a maintenance issue that caused the gas leak, or kind of what happened there that might be helpful for the community members?
Yeah, I couldn't speculate myself because like I said, I wasn't there. I can try to go back and research the report, and it should be in our logbook and it should be still in our computer. I'll make a note of it and I will get that information out to the next group if that's okay, that they'll be following up with you guys next month.
Yeah, that's totally okay. I much
About
appreciate it.
Honolulu and Amana Street, yeah. Gas leak.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Member Mariano?
Yeah, thanks to traffic, I'm a little bit late, but just real quick just to follow up. You know, I know it's a gas leak. So if there's any potential danger to the community, you folks will go and work with HPD to notify the residents, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Right, particularly if it's a gas leak or something and it's going downwind or something.
Yeah, that's correct. We normally will call HPD.
Okay.
HPD will assist us in at least closing off the roads.
Right.
And we usually go even door to door to the businesses and establishments
Yeah.
to evacuate. Because we've had a few like this before where some of the exposed gas lines, they do get hit by cars once in a while, accidentally. And we've had a few where we actually had to shut down roads until Hawaii Gas comes and then they got to kind of
Make
close
it,
off their meters.
make it all clear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
And then once they shut it down, then they usually dig up the pipes and repipe it and then, notify the businesses that they're going to turn it back on, because turning off gas is dangerous, because a lot of the businesses that have pilot lights will actually have the pilot light unlit and gas could potentially accumulate in these businesses. Yeah. So they don't like to shut off gas if they don't have to, because of that potential danger of the pilot light leaking gas without it being on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I guess because we're taping this on Olelo,
Yeah.
just to let them know your protocols, that you would, as soon as it made assessment, to start to notify the public and
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally we do have hazmat and they do have the gas meters. So they will confirm that it is a gas leak. Normally Hawaii Gas is notified. If they aren't notified at the time of the incident, we normally notify them. We can call HPD also, and they will assist us in closing off an area. And then we can go door to door and just to let the residents know that there is a gas leak and potentially we could be shutting it down. Okay.
And I just want to add on real fast that I only found out about it because I was walking to work that morning and it's 2 blocks from my house and I happened to see what was happening and asked the HPD officer. So I wasn't notified in any way beyond just asking when I was passing by. But I just want to make that clarification because I didn't mention it.
Okay. You said you lived about 2 blocks away. Was that?
Yeah, I live on the other side of Kanunu and it was the middle of Kanunu that they shut down.
Yeah. I couldn't, like I said, yeah, I probably wasn't there. So I wouldn't be able to speak for the people that was there, yeah, so to speak. But normally that's what we try and do. And I've been a part of evacuations as well as notifications where we just go right down the road and we'll even let the building managers know or resident managers know to let their residents know that there will be a possible potential shutdown, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for being here this evening, Honolulu Fire Department. Appreciate it. 2.2, Honolulu Police Department. Do we have Officer Aaron Osachuk or someone from HPD?
Sorry, Sergeant Ostachuk is off tonight. I'm Sergeant Mochizuki. I will be attending these meetings maybe about half the time, and probably Sergeant Ostachuk will be covering the other half. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay. Sorry, this is my first time. I'm gonna try and figure out how to share my screen. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So these are our stats. I had our admin run the stats for showing the 20s, the 24s, and 25 as of February 19th, 2025. So you can see a increase in liquor law, miscellaneous crime, and drugs and narcotics right here. Odds are our bike detail, our current bike detail and sergeant have been very, very proactive in the parks, picking up a lot of drug arrests, a lot of prohibitions arrests, and initiating other kinds of, a lot of these are probably residentially challenged person type complaints, meaning structure on sidewalk, litter control, things like that. So that's probably what this represents, is hopefully more proactivity. All of the other major things are down except for auto theft and simple assault. As far as my safety tip for this meeting, for me, what I've noticed a lot of is we're lacking some pedestrian safety awareness on both sides in regard to drivers and pedestrians. For pedestrians, use crosswalks whenever you can, and obviously look both ways before you cross the street. And for the drivers, just be aware of pedestrians, especially those that might be crossing out of crosswalk, mid-block, etc. Do we have any questions?
Thank you, Sergeant Mochizuki. Board members, Member Rice.
Hi, thank you for that report. Thank you for that report. I have another issue I'd like to bring up, please.
Okay.
In Kaka'ako, next to the dog park and the pickleball courts and between the dog park and the pickleball courts and the Mother Waldron Park. There's a long pathway from Pohukaina Street to Haleakawila Street. There has been an inordinate amount of houseless people there, and they're harassing the visitors that come to look at the painted wall on the backside of Fisher Hawaii with the monsters. And I've received 2 calls from 2 different Japanese travel agencies, JTB and HIS Hawaii, because my business is around the corner and we actually do a tour taking guests around the Kaka'ako area to see the murals. And that's
Okay.
certainly the most important one. And they're harassing everybody, let alone the visitors that come, and whether they're on tour with us or on their own, because many of the visitors, especially from Japan, come there to check out the monster wall. It's very popular. They're being harassed. They're being yelled at. Things are being thrown at them. It's just not good for tourism anywhere in the state of Hawaii. So I know that your force is diligent. When they were in Mother Waldron Park a few weeks ago, they were on the Cook Street side of Mother Waldron Park, and they were camping out the whole length of the park. So now they've moved into that pathway. It's a problem. So I'm hoping you folks can pay a little more attention and see what you can do to at least get them to stop harassing the people that are coming to see the walls. Thank you.
We can definitely step up enforcement in that area. I know sometimes it goes down because of just general call volume. We do have a lot of calls coming in, but that's not an excuse. In regard to the incidents being reported, we always recommend that no matter what, whoever is being harassed or bothered, at least report it to us so that we can address it at the time, because at least that way we know the specific individuals involved, even if they don't want to prosecute. For me personally, I prefer if they make a case so we have documentation and we can address those individuals involved.
I understand that, but a Japanese visitor is not going to do that. They're just going to let it go and walk away. Sometimes they come in tour buses. I know HIS has a LEA bus that, or van, I should say, that drops them off and picks them. But there are other tour vans that stop there, and then many of them come on their own. That's just not their nature to do that. So just making you aware of how it kind of works. But the JTB and HIS did contact me because I have a relationship with them. Plus they know our business is there. Plus they know I'm on the board. So they asked if I could at least say something. So maybe something can be done. So whatever you can do
Okay.
is great. We appreciate it. Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll step up enforcement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Mariano?
Thank you, Sergeant. Just a follow-up to your report. There's a couple of items that's not on there that I continually track, and one is graffiti. And I know still the challenges that you have, and I thought we were going to try to track graffiti. And I understand the difference between private property versus public. But one of the things I talked about was to ensure that we try to capture those individuals that's doing these graffitis, even on private or public. The second, drunk driving and speeding. I noticed that in tonight's news, it's been reporting that there's a high rate of speeding, DUI, and traffic violations. So in this area here, Ala Moana, Kaka'ako, I've noticed, starting to notice a significant increase in road rage, particularly as we coming around Kapolani, Pensacola, and Pi'ikoi because of the high volume of traffic. Are you folks noticing the same?
Personally, when I drive around, I haven't noticed more than usual, although the Pensacola area has been better ever since the speed were installed. In regard to the graffiti tracking stats, I apologize. I wasn't aware that I know it's something they're working on, but yes, the public versus private issue was part of it, but I can ask our admin to compile those stats for us. Sorry, just to clarify, I'm a patrol sergeant, so I don't do the stat tracking. The admin guys normally do that. So most of my responses are going to be based off my knowledge as a patrol supervisor. So what I actually see out there. In regard to speeding, again, I don't see more than the usual, but we can look at stepping up enforcement, maybe via some projects or some things like that. And for DUIs, I work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., so I see almost zero of those. I can ask my night watch counterparts what they're seeing though. And then maybe they can do projects as well. Same idea. I know our command is very supportive of doing DUI enforcement via projects. Projects allow officers to do focused work on just a specific violation or you know, a specific flavor, which to me is preferable because we do have the highest call volume every year out of all the districts. So for the officers to be able to peel off and do other things, sometimes it proves to be challenging, just depending on the day. So projects are a very reasonable way, in my opinion, to take care of those problems, or at least address it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also want to thank HPD. I think it was last week when we had the Remember Sarah, the young teenager that was Saturday, and the showing of HPD, particularly the traffic division, coming out there and showing support to the community, I thought was really awesome. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions? We have 2 questions from community members. I see Mr. James Jason's hand up. Apologies if I mispronounced your name.
Oh, you actually got it, which is amazing. Nobody ever does. Yeah, James Keeshan, Sugar Hawaii. Thanks. Just try to keep it brief. First of all, much appreciation to HPD. You guys are stellar at what you do. We do experience a lot of shoplifting, as some of the community know. We try to spearhead a lot of things to handle it. But I guess I'm wondering what happens after the citations and the arrests. Are these cases that are like shoplifting cases or any cases, assault cases, other cases like that? Are they forwarded to the prosecutor's office? Are they being rejected? Like, what's the process?
So with a case in which I'm going to do my best to explain this, it's kind of complicated. So a case in which there is a suspect, there's generally there's a few options for what the disposition of those cases would be. So say shoplifter comes in, steals, we catch them. Option 1 is say the shop owner doesn't want to do anything. They just want documentation. Our officers would write a report and they would complete a withdrawal of complaint and release, which would basically document the entire case, but say, I don't want to prosecute. I just want this on paper. That's option 1, which I would consider probably the lesser or the lesser of all the options. Option 2, if there's questions or issues with the case itself in terms of probable cause, like it's not as solid as we'd like, or it's all the elements aren't necessarily there, we can make the case and do what's called a referral to the prosecutors. So there's no summons issued. We package up the case. We typically read the suspect their rights. We let them give a statement and we give everything to the prosecutors. In cases like that, I learned recently that it unfortunately falls on the complainant, you, the shop owner, to follow up with, I want to say it's VWIX, the Victim Witness Assistance people with the prosecutor's office. I'm positive we can find the phone number online in order to kind of push that case forward. For me personally, I would pick one of the next 2 options, and the next option being we make the case and we cite the person. If we believe that they're not going to continue this action, then we can issue a summons, which says they get a court date for this specific date, approximately a month from the date of issue, and they have to show up. If they don't show up, they generally get a warrant for not showing up. That's kind of good because it locks them into a date, and I don't want to make it sound negative, but it kind of forces the prosecutors to at least address the case. Whereas the referral doesn't always. The last option, or most extreme, and I use that term very loosely, is arrest, of course, right? Which probably happens the most. I think most of our officers prefer to arrest just because it does eliminate the immediate problem. Following that, that's actually the entire process is on the prosecutors. Generally speaking, for your petty misdemeanor and misdemeanor thefts, they're probably going to get out with time served from what I've seen. I can't say for sure because every judge is different, depends on the arraignment and plea and all that stuff. But from there out, yeah, it can it's all up to the prosecutors really and the judge. Don't expect these people unless it's a habitual property crime, which is a felony, to be in for long periods of time. Or unless there's a connecting crime to it, right? Say we arrest them for theft and we find drugs on them. That's a felony. So does that answer your question? Sorry, it's kind of complicated.
It answers it quite well, actually. You're very knowledgeable about your job. Just a couple follow-up questions. Well, when it comes to this procedure, this new policy that's been in place for I think like a couple of years now or a year and a half at the prosecutor's office of not prosecuting unless the complainant explicitly calls the prosecutor and says, you know, by the way, on my statement I said I wanted to prosecute, and I actually meant that. I really do want to prosecute. Um, is there any way that the community can address that so that that policy gets removed? Because I think it's pretty clear to the prosecutor if we say we want to prosecute, that I don't know why we have to call in again and say we definitely want to prosecute.
Yeah, I agree with that, and we share in your frustrations. I would say the best route is probably to contact the prosecutor's office and find out who to speak to there. Because honestly, I don't have any connections there that would be able to facilitate that conversation. But believe me, the officers, everybody else, we share in that frustration because we're seeing the revolving door, right? We're seeing the same people committing the same. You have the wall of shame at your store, is that correct?
Yeah,
Is
we
that
don't
your
cover
store?
that, but yeah, yeah,
I
we
mean,
have.
okay. So when I go shopping there, or when my daughter goes shopping there, I see the wall of offenders, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, sure.
you're probably seeing the same people, and we
Yeah.
see the same thing, probably to a more extreme degree, because they're going to your shop, and then they're going to 7-Eleven, and then they're going somewhere else, and they're doing the same things in different places. So it's very frustrating for the officers to see this high rate of turnover with people that we just arrested yesterday, or sometimes like yeah, the day before, 2 days before, and they're out doing the same thing. So, I mean, we definitely empathize with you in regard to that. So please don't think that we're not, aware of it and not pushing to get a harsher penalties for these types of crimes, or most of them, actually.
Mr. Gishan, thank you for your question. Sergeant Mochizuki, thank you for the response. We have two more, one from Member Chang, Community Member Maheshi, and then we'll move on to the next agenda item. Member Chang.
Yes, Sergeant, thank you. This is kind of crazy. I'm the dog guy in the neighborhood. So I've got a couple complaints from people who saying that there's some individuals walking their dogs without a leash. In some case, the dogs are pretty large. What's the best way to address this?
Like I would recommend for most things is we start off with just calling 911 so the officer can assessment of that immediate situation. Sometimes they're service animals, but obviously they need to be on a leash anyway. But that is job one. If you don't feel like it's being addressed sufficiently, I believe that OIC complaints are a really good tool overall for something that is not happening to your satisfaction, because we as supervisors are tasked with ensuring that the officers do conduct follow-up checks for these OIC complaints. And granted, sometimes we don't find anything, so they're unfounded, but at least we're getting consistent presence and we're accountable from our major all the way down to the officer. We're all accountable to conduct those checks. And, you know, it wasn't that long ago that I was a patrol officer. Now I'm a supervisor, and I get it. Our days get busy. You get a weird arrest. You don't have time to address all the things that you'd like to address in a given day. So certain things tend to fall by the wayside. But the OIC log kind of keeps us a little more honest in regard to ensuring that we do address the things that the public is concerned about.
Thank you.
Okay, one more from Community Member Maheshi, and then we'll move on. And I do want to acknowledge Member Karen Chung's presence online as well.
Aloha. I'd like some clarity on an issue here.
All right, Ms. Maheshi, we
Are you having a hard time
cannot hear
hearing
you
me?
clearly.
Okay, let me put my headphones on. Better? Can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Okay. I wanted some clarity on the area Kaka'ako, Queen Street and South Street. there are like hot rod cars. It's like a drag strip. And I got an email from one of our politicians saying, we just doubled the fine on these loud cars. And it's like, but it's just getting worse. There are more of them. They're louder. They go on all day long. They start at 4:30 in the morning. And sometimes they continue through like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning from the previous night. And as I say, they're just increasing. And you can hear them. You can hear them like rumming the engines and zipping down the street. So there's got to be speeding involved in this too. Who's responsible for actually stopping this? Why are we having laws made that nothing's being enforced? And it's not just in Kaka'ako. I mean, I live here, so I hear it all day long. But when I travel around the city, it's all over. Nothing's being done. What do we need to do to get this taken care of?
As far as apartment side, what we can do, sorry, actually, I want to ask a question first. What hours are you looking at generally?
Well, it starts at 4:30 in the morning. I can tell you exactly. There's 2 of them that come out of 600 Queen Street, and there's at least 2 that come out of 615 Kiabe, and then they come down South Street and go zooming up past Queen. So, and it used to be just like less, but now I can tell you 10 or 15 times a day at least. These loud cars are going by, and if I was on this call with you and one went by right now, I wouldn't be able to hear you. And I'm on the 13th floor. So it's not like it's, this is a health issue. It's detrimental to people's sanity. I can't imagine what it's doing to people's animals.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So generally speaking, I'm gonna say maybe 4:30, starting at 4:30 and then throughout the day thereafter.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot from 4:30 to about 8. And then it's throughout the day, dispersed. And I said, if you have an officer sitting down there, I called a couple of years ago every day. I did 311, and they would tell me go to the mayor's office, and I would say to the mayor's office, person answered, you're losing a lot of revenue by not giving out these tickets. And she said to me, we don't get the money anyway. So something's falling through the cracks here.
Yeah,
And
the
it was-
department sees, I mean, I know from what I know, HPD sees no revenue from any of the citations we issue. To my knowledge, it goes to the state. But that aside, it still is our responsibility to conduct traffic enforcement and enforcement of whatever laws that are being broken, whether they be traffic, noise ordinances, etc. So that does fall on us. In regard to that, sometimes it's a little tricky to catch them in the act at the time. And even when we do, the follow-up is important in my opinion. And I haven't been to traffic court in a little bit, but I would say that that's just as relevant as us issuing the citation because it does send a bit of the wrong message if we are conducting the enforcement, but then they're allowed to either plead out or the case gets dumped or they write a letter and the follow-up is going to be very, very relevant to our eventual success in kind of quelling these issues. But we can definitely step up enforcement in the area, make checks, and I would recommend the same thing overall. I know you attempted it once already, but OICs do keep us a little more involved and accountable for making these checks and ensuring that they're occurring.
I would appreciate
Beyond-
anything that you can do to stop this because
Okay, thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Maheshi.
Bye.
And Sergeant Mochizuki, thank you for responding to our questions this evening. We appreciate your presence tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. If the board will indulge me in going out of order, I'd like to have Sergeant Joel Saniatan do his presentation first, and then we can move on to the other agenda items. I want to make sure our first responders get back to doing their jobs.
Good evening, Chair and Board. I'm Corporal Joe Sanyatan of the Honolulu Police Department Community Affairs Division. I'm sorry. And the Honolulu Police Department kindly ask for the permission for the usage of the streets fronting HPD to the state capitol for Monday, May 12th at about 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. for the three most Mackay lanes fronting HPD main station to the state capitol will be coned off during the above times for the memorial service march for the fallen officers. The march is for approximately 100 plus marchers. One lane will be open for traffic flow. Once the marchers are in the state capitol grounds, the lanes will reopen and continue flow of traffic at 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Saniaton. Questions from the board? Okay, appreciate you being here tonight. Okay, time is now 6:34. Let's move on to the next presentation. We have Jessica Lee, who is a student that would like to talk about the Korean language program expansion and a resolution that she'd like the board to consider.
Aloha, Chair Lee. My name is Jessica Lee, and I am currently a sophomore. South Korea is a country with a rich historical background, a thriving economy, and a culture that has gained global recognition. In communities like ours, there's a growing need to learn the Korean language to better understand and reach the full economic benefits. Aside from military investment, South Korea is one of our main trading partners for our country, and our state also receives millions of dollars from tourists and investors as well. In fact, Honolulu and Incheon are sister cities. In addition, the popularity of K-pop, K-dramas, and K-beauty has been trending globally. We need the neighborhood support to ensure that the DOE will consider expanding Korean language programs within the Kaimuki McKinley Roosevelt complex that services the Moana Kaka'ako area. Mentioning Korean as an approved language on the World Language List is not enough. The programs need to be funded and available in schools. On February 5th, a resolution was passed at the Manoa Neighborhood Board, and I am hoping you will pass one tonight as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lee. So we're not going to vote on anything tonight, but we do want the board to be introduced to your resolution. It's in the Google Drive. Ms. Gomes, are you able to pull it up just so our board is able to see Ms. Jessica Lee's proposed resolution? Okay, so again, we're not going to be voting on this tonight since this is the first time that the entire board has seen this. It is in our Google Drive and we can add it to our agenda for consideration in the next meeting or so. So Ms. Lee, thank you for being here tonight to present.
Thank you so much.
Questions from the board? Okay, let's move on to Kaka'ako Makai, Senate Bill 534 with Mr. Ron Iwami from Friends of Koala. Anywhere you can prop it up so our talent can catch it.
You get the board over there. Over there. You can put it in front of the chair. There you go. Okay.
As long as you're by the mic, if you can introduce yourself and your group.
It's a wireless mic, so take it off.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank the neighborhood board for inviting us and having us, and thank you, Kathleen, for making that happen. So I want to introduce we are friends of Kiwalos. We are friends of Kiwalos, and I'm the president. This is Shani. She's our vice president. And that's Tommy Y. He's an old-time board member like me. So I'm glad we have younger generation people carrying it on. We've been in place for 20 years, and 20 years we've been protecting the Kaka'ako Makai land. And so, as you guys know, OHA got the land in 2012, and they maybe 6 times since then, they've been trying to undo the law. The law that's protecting this land from becoming like the Mauka side of Kaka'ako with the 400-foot towers. So we believe that the law should be protected so that it can remain open space and pretty much for the people of Hawaii instead of private residences that will buy into these so-called, they say, affordable towers. But I just want to go and explain the poster board we brought because visuals tell like 1,000 words. This is what Kaka'ako Makai may look like should the bill be repealed, the residential law. OHA has 9 properties in Makai. If the law gets overturned, in essence, they can build 9 high-rise towers. Not saying they will, but that's what is at stake if the law goes away. And also, that whole area, like west of Ward Avenue up to Forest Avenue, is going to turn into a high-rise concrete canyon because on the Mauka side is Kamehameha Schools. 6 developments already approved are starting to come up right now. So you're going to get 6 on the Mauka side and about 6 OHA and Camp School. Camp School has land on the Makai side too. So if the ban gets lifted, they're going to build too. And they're going to build just as high as OHA, 400 feet. So you're going to have 400 feet towers on both sides of Moana Boulevard. It's going to like driving down Bishop Street. So we don't want another Waikiki. And this is what it would look like if the law gets overturned. So that's one of our principal things we're asking for. Take residential out of the bill. It's not it shouldn't even be in there. And I can hand it over for Tom now because there's so many issues that's wrong with the bill, right, Tom? Yeah.
Part of the big problem with this current bill is that OHA is, if you read the bill very carefully, it says we want to develop residential units on selected parcels. But yet they failed to identify which parcels they plan to build on. Now, why is this important? Is because many of you have lived in the local area in Kaka'ako. You realize and know that this was once contaminated brown field. In other words, this was a dump, a city dump from the 1900s. So there's car bodies, stoves, batteries, pesticides, all kind of bad stuff in the ground, okay? And then it was covered over. And if you look at this picture, you see the park. Basically, when the park was built, they realized they wouldn't want to build on a brownfield, so they covered it, sealed the contaminants. But this whole area is a contaminated brownfield. In the current bill, OHA does not mention, like I said, which parcels they want to build on. That's a big, big boo-boo to me because they have to do the environmental impact statement that is regulated by law. Why is that so important? Is because you build it on a dump site. And when you build it on a dump site, such as here in Kaka'ako, Makai, okay, you're going to kick up dust, aerial pollutants. You're going to have workers, construction workers, and a lot of union workers don't realize that they're going to be exposed to these contaminants. Okay? So they have to wear the proper attire to protect them, as well as the equipment that they use, whether they're excavating the area or cleaning up the area. They have to decontaminate after if they go to another site. Are they going to do that? I don't think OHA has even considered it. Okay, and this is a big problem from a public health safety. Okay, so if OHA did the proper planning, and if the current legislature uses their akamai, they would make sure that OHA does the EIS on the particular parcels they're selecting. Now, why is this also important? It's because the level of contaminants on the parcels may vary. Last study that was done, EIS, before they built, let's say, the playground area, they did a surface testing down to 3 feet because they looked at the bill that said no residential development. Okay. So they basically did it 3 feet deep. Well, the dump is a lot more than 3 feet. And if you're going to build high-rise condominiums, residential units, you need strong structural foundation, which would require power driving into a brownfield to hit bedrock. That means you would have to go pretty deep. As you go deeper, if you can imagine, the cost is going to just skyrocket. OHA has not done their homework. The legislature should use common sense and make sure that OHA does their homework before they even consider residential development in Kaka'ako, Makai.
Aloha. My name is Shani. I'm with Friends of Kiwalo. I'm one of the younger board members. I want to talk about the affordability of the plan and how they're marketing it. So they're saying it's affordable, but you know the low income numbers, you know, for 1 bedroom is $469, for 2 bedroom is $659, 3 bedroom is $791, and then the market rates is $662, $893, and $989. To me, those numbers aren't, I wouldn't say they're affordable. I'd rather them say, you know, I'd rather them not market it to the, is it on? I'd rather them not say that it's for the locals, you know, or the Hawaiians. I'd rather them be straightforward about it. Because if you break down the numbers, it's over $5,000 a month, you know, and that's, to me, that's not really affordable. There's a condo like over here in front of Kiwalo's and Ala Moana Park where, you know, that's being listed for under 14 mil, and that's without the oceanfront view. So, you know, I can't imagine what one of these ones would go for. Yeah. Yeah. It, no, I think it's a marketing ploy. I mean, I majored in marketing, so yeah, I think the whole thing is just to get traction, you know, to get built. But we don't need another, you know, Waikiki. And if you drive down Kaka'ako at night, like there's not a lot of people that live in those units. It's like it's pitch dark. So yeah, I mean, I think the people that live there are people that come visit twice a year, you know. That's all.
Well, I just want to go with this
forgot to add certain things that's related to this brownfield. And that is, when you look at the studies that have been done about climate change, rising sea levels, and all that, keep in mind that this is a field, this was wetland area before, marsh area, way back in the 1800s. There were fields and all that in old Hawaiiana. And then it was used as a dump site by the city. And then to make use of this land, they dredged Moana, Honolulu Harbor, to backfill this area. Okay. Now, why is this important? Is because when you look at the shoreline, okay, and you look at the study, which I'm sure OHA hasn't done, the water line actually along Ala Moana Boulevard. What does that mean? That means when you have, especially times like king tides, like that, when the level, sea level rise, or with king tides occasionally throughout the year, you're going to have more leaching of these contaminants into the surrounding aquifer and the ocean recreational areas. What does this mean is that the likelihood is you're going to release these toxicants along Kiwala Basin, surfing areas. You're going to affect the marine life along Sand Island and off Ala Moana. Does the public need this? This is why I'm very, very concerned. We don't need another Red Hill incident. Because if you have a problem and you have to shut down the public beaches of Ala Moana, Kiwala Basin, Sand Island like that, I think the public would be very upset. Yeah. So I'm hoping that the current legislature will see and have wisdom to not pass this particular bill.
Yeah, so I know we're going to wrap it up already, Kathleen, because you said 10 to 15 minutes. We respect that. So all I want to end with is,
Can you get closer to the mic, Mr. Iwan?
okay, how you guys can help, how the public can help is if you send in testimony opposing Senate Bill 534, and we have a hearing tomorrow at 10:05, but it's not too late to send in testimony. It just will be labeled late, but it still counts. So that's one thing you can do. Another thing is we're planning a rally on March 8th at Kaka'ako Makai Gateway Park. That's on Ala Moana Boulevard and Cook Street. It's between 9 and 12. We plan to rally the people. We're going to have our signs and everything. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a fun day. So you guys can come out and show your support that we want to keep Kaka'ako Makai residential free from the high rises, and it should be kept open space. So we have, like I said, been doing this 20 years. We never filed one lawsuit or anything like that. But the power we have is the power of the people. And that's the community of Kaka'ako and around the whole state. So I encourage you to come out and support us through testimony, attending our rally, and check out our website, friendsofkiwalos.org. On there, you get the latest updates on when the next hearing will be, so when the next testimony is needed. And I think we can do this, like I said, with the power of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there, can we get an electronic copy of what you brought today?
Like a digital copy.
Yeah.
Can you do it?
Okay, so we can put it up in our Google Drive and people can access to it.
Yeah.
Board members, questions? Memorize.
Thank you for your presentation. And you know, I'm a big supporter of your efforts. My question and concern is what happens if they do build 30, 40, 50 years down the road? Like you said, it's on a toxic wasteland there. And I can just see, I think people just need to think about this, that if someone gets sick, who are they going to sue? They're going to sue the state.
Yeah.
And that impacts everybody. Every taxpayer, not only on Oahu, but statewide. So why should anybody have to be responsible for irresponsible development? That's how I feel personally. So please send in your testimony. I think this is a huge mistake. And to do this, they can build in other ways, commercial space, which still would have the same impact for those people who are doing the construction, and then ultimately the people that will be working there. But it won't be digging pile drivers hundreds of feet down and imploding toxic waste, if you will, or air into the air. And I don't think, like you said, anybody wants to see Moana Beach Park. And I think that water, if it's impacted, will also reach Waikiki. And then should a visitor get sick, I think that news goes worldwide and Hawaii will seriously suffer. So thank you for your efforts. I know you work really, really hard to get the word out, and I will help as well as I hope some of the other board members. Thank you.
Can I just make a comment, Jeanne or Jeannie, that, yeah, you're right what you said. Who's going to put the bill if somebody gets sick? It's going to be us. So there's more reason why is the legislature supporting the bill? They should be protecting the government should be protect the people. So you make a good point.
Any other comments, board members? Member Mariano, Member Farinas, and then Member Vanderbrink.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. Just got a couple of things, because as you've been coming and watching our neighborhood board, one of the things I always talk about is infrastructure, aging infrastructure. I don't think I'd be able to go to the testimony tomorrow because I have something already committed, but I can also present something and submit
right
later.
there?
Yeah. I gotta go. But anyway, my point here is, as part of, if you're doing this tomorrow, is to really consider the infrastructure. Because I thought a couple of years ago, when this first came up, that this kind of died on the vine. But, under fairness of housing, affordable housing, it's, our TOD is, 250. And there is one exception to make it 400. Now you're right. They want all 400. So if there's a compromise to maybe 100 or 150 or definitely affordable housing, that might be it. But the biggest concern is the aging infrastructure, the Opala that you said that's pretty bad and contaminated, but the infrastructure to support if each one of those 400, you're talking about 700 units or 1,400 or so increase in traffic. Moana and that area there is already congested. And the pollution that's going to go in addition to what's already there is going to seep into the ocean. And so I'm not sure why they're pushing it, except for under the auspices of affordable housing, fairness. And what they really should do is look at affordability and fairness to protect the people and use common sense to keep this here. And if there is some contaminants that's in the soil right now, what they should do is look at taking that funds, Kamehameha, schools, and try to fix that place and make it better. Because if it is bad and it's getting worse, we need to fix that so we can avoid the illnesses and those things that's contaminant that would affect the people, right? The OHA. So appreciate and applaud what you're doing. And I'll do my best to get something written up and send it in.
And make your point about infrastructure.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to mention. So if someone else out there is listening and they're going to testify, the infrastructure is really critical. Look at Moana, Kaka'ako right now with the high rises. And then we have lots of absent condos because people can't afford it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Mariano, Member Farinas, and then Member Vanderbrink. Member Vanderbrink.
So I just want to mention Representative Iwamoto did actually have a newsletter here where she actually said she wants to hear from the public and specifically mentioned the Senate bill. So just encourage people to call her up, email her, even fill out the survey if you want, so you can have your opinions heard and Representative Iwamoto can know what the community wants.
Member Farinas.
Hi, Ron. Nice to see you again. And
Hi.
Chief, thanks for showing up. Just quickly, you're being very modest, Mr. Iwami, because 20 years ago, because of your organization and grassroots organization and community collaborations, you stopped Alexander and Baldwin in 2005. So that was not a small feat. And you're true to your word in terms of preserving public spaces for all to use. So good luck.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for the kind words. So we're not giving up the fight. And sounds like we have a lot of support from the neighborhood board, and we appreciate that. So don't forget, you can still get your testimony in for tomorrow's hearing. So just
Can I say something too, that if you look at the bill, there's also the Senate draft one. That's like with the amendments to the original bill. But in the bill, if you read it very carefully, you'll see a statement saying in so many words, who's going to pay for this? Well, I know who's going to pay for it if they make a bad decision. It's going to be every one of us. Oh, thank you. I call it the choo-choo train.
Thank you for being here this evening. And I do want to acknowledge Mr. Iwami as well, because when he had asked if they could present, he had also asked the board if we had already reached out to OHA in all fairness. So thank you for letting us, making sure that we have both perspectives. So on our end, I'm unsure how the bill is going to go after the hearing, but we'd love to have them come in as well. So
it's only at the halfway point. It's almost crossover. So this is the last bill being heard by the Senate. And so it's important if it's killed here, then it won't cross over to the House. But we think the way it's been sailing through all the committees, it's going to pass. But we still got to try. But we have our plans to work on the House side because we feel that the House lost their leader in Scott Psyche, and they have a new speaker now. And I believe that they're uncertain on how to move because Scott is gone. So we're going to concentrate on talking to some key people on the House side, see if we can get them on our side. Thank you.
thank you for being here this evening. Go ahead, Member Mariano.
I think, yeah, this is at the state right now, but I think this is enough where we at the neighborhood board, we can do testimony as private citizens. But I would ask the mayor's representative, to take this issue back to the city council and to the mayor. That says that, we are concerned as well, so that we can get it from the ground up to send the voice for the state.
Thank you for coming this evening to present. Appreciate that. Moving on to board business, 4.1, approval of the January 28th, 2025 meeting minutes. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, edits? Okay, Member Farinas moves to approve. Second by Member Mariano. Anyone opposed? Okay, meeting minutes have been approved. Thank you, board. Moving on to the Action Committee report. Member Davis is not here today, but we do have Member Vanderbrink who gives a quick update.
Thank you. So the Action Committee meeting, forgive me, when was the exact date? Was it the first Tuesday? This second Thursday of the month. So at the meeting, we did discuss trying to move forward with going to the farmer's market and making sure that we could get a booth and obtain materials to try and have more outreach with the community. We also talked about getting a newsletter together, so hopefully that will be ready by the next Action Committee meeting. On it, we wanted to talk about the events in the neighborhood, but also try and highlight new small businesses, local businesses that are opening, to try and make a point on giving them some voice there. In addition, we are trying to make sure we post more to our social media. So with this upcoming meeting, we did share that as well. So make sure that to try and get more people to tune in either in person or online. And lastly, we do want to try and get some type of student or someone here from UH or just someone younger as well that wants to get more involved in their neighborhood, to be able to actually see what we do and maybe help with the outreach and help even see how our meeting agenda is put together. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Thank you, Member Vanderberg. Great job. Questions from the board? Okay, let's move on again to Member Vanderbrink regarding ICE encounters. And to clarify, this is going to be informational, so we're not going to be debating on the issue. Member Vanderbrink, you can expound on that further.
Thank you. So just to reiterate that, in discussion of ICE encounters and ICE, this is not to be any sort of political argument. This is very just to be informative as well. And I just plan to share a story I heard about a business in Waikiki, as well as to share some online materials from groups that do detail individuals' rights and when they do encounter ICE, if they encounter ICE. And especially because ICE is having a more active impact on our islands, I feel this is kind of important to share. Personally, for me, the last time I encountered someone who was with ICE was when I worked at McDonald's drive-through and they came through the drive-through. So I haven't had any personal encounters with them. And I'm not sure how much others have had. So I feel it's important to actually know our rights in that matter. And in addition, I don't have any legal training. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't actually want to list those rights or go into a deep discussion on them. I actually just want to share the online sites that do detail it as well. But if members of the community do want to have a more thorough discussion on it, you can always let us know, and we can always reach out to someone who actually has that background who can talk about it. So just to start then about what happened in Waikiki, there was a business there that ICE agents did go into. They did try and ask for all the employees' IDs, and the manager of that location had never encountered ICE before, proceeded to call the owner because she had no idea what to do. The ICE agents did go to the employees and ask for their IDs, and actually, to be frank, lied and said the manager said it was okay. And the employees had no idea of their rights either and what to or not to do in that type of encounter. The owner got on the phone, talked to the ICE agents, and they left without incident. But I feel like no matter if you're employee, employer, if you're just walking down the street, driving a car, or at your home, it's always good to actually understand what your rights are when you encounter ICE. And I do point out ICE, but this can also apply to really any law enforcement, HPD included. So in referencing the online sites, I understand they weren't able to get actually on the agenda itself, but they're very easy sites to write down. The acluhi.org and then the immigrantdefenseproject.org, both of which provide very detailed materials on what your rights are when encountering ICE. And as I'm just going to repeat throughout this, it's very important that we understand our rights. So that way our rights aren't violated when we do encounter any ICE agents. But besides that, that's all I really want to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vanderbrink. Board members? Okay, let's move. Thank you, Member Chang. Moving on to our sub-district report. Our apologies, I thought I had been doing that, but if I missed you, I mean, we did accept questions, and then we do ask from the community. And if I missed you this round, I apologize. Do you have a comment that you wanted to share?
somebody tells you you have to do something, I'll go with you. I'm just an old lady. But I've lived here for a long, long time. And I have some idea what the rights of people are.
Thank you. And if you could state your name for our record.
My name is Pat Stolza.
Thank you, Ms. Dolfo, for your comment this evening. We appreciate it. Moving on to our sub-district reports. I know we had a couple of members. We had a couple of members that had that wanted to bring up some matters in their district. I'll start with Member Farinas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to share that I attended another meeting held earlier this month for Senate Bill 1630 regarding the local housing market for Hawaii's workforce, hosted by its sponsor, Senator, with Speaker Peter Savio, who is a Kama'aina and of Savio Realty, and just really all around has changed the landscape of Hawaii's real estate. And just if I could encapsulate the meeting, and I brought share some of the highlights from that meeting. So according to Alice, which is the Assets Limited Income Constrained Employed reports, approximately 45% of Hawaii's households struggle to pay for basic daily needs, and cost of housing is the largest expense. Hawaii residents pay 40% of their income for housing costs alone, which is the highest in our nation and well above the 30% affordability. Mr. Savio, again, went into great detail of his alternative solution, and it was really interesting to hear and really welcoming because, we keep having the same narrative. So it's about time that, we take a different perspective. So his alternative solution to Hawaii's housing crisis is to bifurcate, in other words, divide into two parts, the Hawaii's housing market. Because in reality, out-of-state buyers are contributing to the trend of rising home costs and sales. So the more they buy, and the homes are sold to the highest bidder. So SB 1632 asserts a local housing market is necessary to provide homes for Hawaii residents by branches of Hawaii's housing markets, one for Hawaii residents and the other for out-of-state / international buyers. And just to quote one of the language in the bill, the local housing market would be established to use the principles of community land trusts to preserve houses for residents of Hawaii in perpetuity. So currently, Senate Bill 1632 has passed its second reading and referred to the Ways and Means Committee. And I encourage you all to look up this bill and just to find more information about it, because again, it's just changing it. Yes, how can we offer affordable housing to our local residents? And because we're a constitutional free market, we can't tell people, foreign investors or out-of-state investors, you cannot not buy here because that's basically against the law. However, again, his alternate solution is to bifurcate the housing market, have two, one for us locals and one for the out-of-state. I mean, and I'm oversimplifying, but again, Senate Bill 1635, I encourage you all to take a quick peruse of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Farinas. Board members, questions? Member Chang.
Yeah, I think we had discussed this previously, and I think we thought that the land trust was a good idea. It was a way to get land at a lower price, and then that way, that land trust would actually lock in that property, and you can actually put restrictions on that property. So I think we talked about this before, but yes, it's a good alternative. I agree.
Thank you. Board members, any other? Okay, community? Okay, Member Rice, you wanted to go over some matters?
Thank you. I just wanted to bring back to the table, if you will, the dog situation in Moana Beach Park. We had an action committee that started. We didn't seem to get all that far, although we did have a meeting with Laura Thielen from Department of Parks and Recreation, and trying to come up with a solution. One was to find an area of Moana Beach Park that could be enclosed But then the question comes along, well, how do you get there? If you're walking your dog in Ala Moana Beach Park on a leash and an officer stops you and you're saying, well, you're going to the dog park, how does that all work? So I would like to bring that back to the attention of the neighborhood board. And so we can address it. There are so many people that inquire about it. What happened? Where are we at on this issue? So I'd like to reestablish or reinvigorate the action committee on this subject so we can help the community. Because too many people are getting $500 tickets just to walk their dog in Ala Moana Beach Park. And that just is ridiculous when a speeding ticket is a lot less. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rice. Committee members, board members, if you can come up and mic is right there. Yes.
Thank you. Since we're on the dog subject, one of the reasons why I came to this meeting. Oh, Michelle Opatek, and I live at 1133 Waimanu. So the dog park we own the fence at 1133 Waimanu, and the dog park is right next to it. So there's a number of concerns. I went to the February 8th meeting. Prior to that, there was a meeting in our little, meeting room at Waimanu, but they never followed up. So the dog park took over a year to build. And my understanding is there was a problem with the construction, that the foundation had to be replaced. It took a long time. And one thing that I see since I'm there every single day is someone mentioned speeding. Main Street, I don't see any speed limit signs. There is the flashing sign, but if someone doesn't press that sign, someone's walking a dog and talking on their phone, there's going to be a collision. We also have children on one side, dogs and people on the other side. There's a lot of congestion. There's a lot of people walking around. Why not have those speed bumps, or why not have caution or the word slow on the ground on that road? Because that road is so fast. Safety issue, the fact that they did spend a lot of money on the dog park. I know it went over budget. Is there any way for me to find out how much over budget? I'm curious because, again, I live right next door. The hours from 6 to 10 are a little bit long. This morning I took a picture. I got up super early and someone was laying on one of the benches because the benches are benches instead of being segregated. Signage, when on February 8th, I was talking to the police that showed up, real nice, Sergeant Lynn, I believe, and another officer, and they said, yeah, the signage isn't real clear. No loitering before or after the dog park hours, that's a concern. Capacity of the park, I don't know, I just feel like there needs to be a little bit more safety or looking into the dog park. And there's other animals within the area. Bringing up another subject, that cats, I do TNRM, trap, neuter, release, manage. That's a big concern in the area because there are a lot of cats and I don't want any more. We need to get them fixed. Spent $2 million on a dog park. We need to step up with the Humane Society that just passed a bill to get animals fixed. So thank you.
Thank you for being here this evening. Member Rice.
Hi, thank you so much for coming and thank you for your comments. I'm responsible for that dog park. Okay, so first of all, it was not $2 million at all. It did not go over budget. Dog park instead of homeless people sleeping in the park, because I called numerous times about people sleeping in the park. So I appreciate the fact communication is what I'm looking for, Jeannie. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for.
So for information about the dog park, the cost and all of that, you have to reach out to the Hawaii Community Development Authority. Okay. They're the ones that built the park.
Okay.
Okay. And the cost of the park, along with the beacons for the crosswalk, along with the playground at Kolawala Park, Makai, the picnic tables next to the dog park, the new picnic tables in Kolawala Park, Makai, and the gym equipment all came from the budget that former Speaker of the House, Scott Psyche, funded. So I don't know all the numbers, but I do know it did not go over budget. What I can tell you is you're absolutely right about the homeless. 2 days after the dog park opened, I have dog friends who came at 6:15 in the morning before they go to work, and 3 homeless people were in the bushes where the statue is outside of the park.
Yes, outside of the park.
They
Thank
sleep
you.
in that circle.
Thank you.
And then they come and they hopped over the fence and they were screaming at my friends and saying, "You stole where we like to sleep area." And they have already vandalized the sprinkler system in the dog park, which has become a problem because it's creating mud puddles and people don't like that. They don't like their dogs getting dirty. I know I don't like my dog getting dirty. And some other issues. People are coming in with children that shouldn't be in there.
Correct.
People are coming in with children in their strollers and they shouldn't be in there.
Toys, I see toys.
No, I haven't seen any toys, but I get it's balls that they're
Yeah.
using with the dogs. And that's a good thing for the dog because they're getting exercise. But I have a list of other issues that need to be addressed. And so what I encourage you to do is email Hawaii Community Development Authority, or you can email me with your concerns and I will forward it to HCDA for you.
Okay, one other thing that I've noticed, because I live in 1133, is we do have guest parking and we're getting more people that have dogs. Our building is a no pet building, but there's emotional support animals, which I have no problem with that. But people are coming to visit their friend right next to the dog park. So they park in our parking lot, walk to the dog park.
That's your
Just-
building's responsibility.
I'm pointing that out.
Yeah.
Another issue that I'm going to bring up at my meeting, which is on Thursday. And then the parking, there's only maybe 6 parking stalls.
5 parking stalls alongside the dog park that I want to get rid of. I've
So
been
just
wanting
make it
to
a
get
free parking.
no, I don't want any parking stalls. Why? Because of your comment about the speeding.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
So and that's why I worked hard with Karen Chung to get the crosswalk reinstated and with the beacons. People are coming, especially from Moana side, which is 2 lanes. Then right at the beacons, it narrows to 1 lane. Then right after Queens Lane, which is where the yoga factory is, then it becomes 2 lanes again. Then just past Kaka'ako Street, it becomes 1 lane again. So it's extremely confusing. And if they would just make it 1 lane after the beacons, people get used to it. I love your idea of the humps. I love your idea of slow painted in the streets, because I can tell you, since the beacons went in, how many times I've crossed in the crosswalk with the beacons flashing and the cars are as close as Member Chang is to me. And I stand there and I raise my hands and I go, "What are you doing?" And they curse at me because it's my fault. I'm in a marked crosswalk. So we can do more. We just got to put it out there. So please email me. I'll give you my email after the meeting.
appreciate that.
And anybody
this-
else.
And the speed limit also, there's no speed limit signs on that.
That I
street.
don't know, but I'll look
Yeah, there's
tomorrow
none.
morning.
There's none.
I think they are more on the other side of Pensacola Street.
Thank you.
Thank
Member
you.
Rice and, Ms. Michelle, thank you for coming this evening. We have one more sub-district report from Ms. Farringer, Member Farringer, who was unable to come this evening, but she wanted to bring to the board's attention an electrical post structure that's been knocked over a couple of times in accidents near the corner of Pi'ikoi and Ala Moana in the center median. So in our Google Drive, we have a picture of it. Ms. Gums, are you able to pull it up just so people have an idea of what Member Farringer was referring to? I believe her neighbors had asked when it was going to be fixed, since it's been about a year. So just wanted to bring that to the attention of both the board and some of our representatives or legislators who are here tonight. Okay, thank you. Moving on to, not sure which district, I apologize. Well, in any case, it's at the corner of Pi'ikoi and Ala Moana. So we just wanted to have that on record. Moving on to our residents and community concerns. We're looking at 3 minutes per speaker. Go ahead, sir. If you could go up to the mic and state your name.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Eduardo Hernandez. I'd like to thank you for volunteering and serving on this board. It's, we've heard tonight about concerns that are happening around our country, and I think acting locally is one of the best things that we can do to effect change in our community. And toward that end, I have submitted myself as a candidate to join this board. And so I wanted to introduce myself tonight. I'm a past chair of the Kaimuki Neighborhood Board. I've lived in the district since 2019. I love this neighborhood, and I would be honored to serve with you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Fernandez, thank you for being here this evening. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Any other community members bring up any community concerns or comments? Member Mariano.
Yeah, just real quick, Madam Chair. I've talked, as I go around my district here in the area, and I've noticed that some of the street signs are, hard to read. And some of it is because of the extensive exhaust that's and the pollutants around. So for example, on a corner of Kapilani and Pi'ikoi, that street sign, Pi'ikoi, you can't see it. You can see it in the day, but at night, you can't see it. So if we can get, I'm not sure, someone from the mayor's office or Department of Transportation to go around, particularly Ala Moana, Kaka'ako, and take a look at some of the street signs, rather than buying new signs. I think if they can just blast some water and clean it, and then that would, beautify it. So I think that would be a really low-cost solution. So we can get it there, because I can tell you, looking at night, particularly with tourists or other, individuals that have vision impaired, it's hard for them to read the street signs at night. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Mariano. Anyone else for residents and community concerns? Mr. Gishin.
Yeah, thank you, James Gishin, Sugar Hawaii again. I'll try to keep this to 3 minutes here. I'd like to bring up a serious public safety concern. Please keep in mind my comments are about crime in general, not just shoplifting. It's assault, noise ordinances, park rules, and so on. In our experience, our law enforcement HPD does an amazing job, and I agree with them. They can cite and issue tickets and arrest all day long, but without consequences, the laws are meaningless. HPD cites and arrests, but the prosecutor does not prosecute. In our cases at the prosecutor's office, for example, more than 90% of the time, the city deputy prosecutor makes a motion to nolle prosequi, which literally means I do not wish to prosecute. Again, in our experience, the standard procedure of the prosecutor with our cases is literally to not prosecute. Couple that with the policy of the prosecutor's office to not prosecute unless we repeatedly call to reiterate that what we've already said, that we do indeed want to prosecute. So we ask the question, what is the job of the prosecutor? The title suggests it is to prosecute. Here's a statistic from our one small business. We experience theft on average approximately once a day, with a typical loss every year of around $30,000 to $50,000. And we support over 300 small makers, fashion designers, up-and-coming artists. Here are two examples of what's happening in the community. One individual, he comes to shops around the island all day long, every day, practically. Shoplifts, sometimes get cited, sometimes not, is back on the street the next day. The other is much more serious. We have people who call themselves gypsies, self-defined gypsies, scamming our kupuna and our local community out of thousands of dollars daily. We've been trying for 3 to 4 years to work with the prosecutor's office and offer to assist and collaborate. We have not received a response from DPA Flo Nakakuni or from Prosecutor Steve Alm. Finally, what I am requesting is an immediate response from the PA's office. Why are these criminals not being prosecuted? I would also like to hear from our elected officials tonight, if it is possible. What specific actions can we take to change this? And finally, I don't know if a motion can be made. I'm not sure how that works. It's my first time being here. I'm calling for a formal request from the board to request a response from the prosecutor's office, the attorney general's office, and our state leaders for an action plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gishan. And you can email me so we can go over what questions you have, just so the board can have a better understanding of your request. So thank you for being here this evening.
Mahalo.
Hey, it is now 7:29. Moving on to agency reports. Okay, so let's go back real quick to sub-district reports with Member Farinas before we go back to the agency reports.
Yes, thank you, Chair and board members, for indulging me. You know, part of the neighborhood board is we also like to disseminate information that happens in our neighborhood, our community. And I want to bring up tonight, specifically in my sub-district, Sub-District 4, we have a Blaisdell Pono Patrol, which helps to increase safety and cleanliness in our neighborhood. And they meet tomorrow, Wednesday, the 26th at 5:30 to 6:30. They meet every first and third Wednesdays at the corner of Ward Avenue and South King. So for more information and you want to join us, please reach out to email blaisdellponopatrol@gmail.com. And also in support of everyone having access to performance arts, the current orchestras all over the country are celebrating Beethoven Festival. A collaboration of Hawaii Youth Symphony and Hawaii Symphony Orchestra will host a free concert. So again, it's not just for my sub-district or Alamana Kaka'ako Neighborhood Board, but everyone in the entire island is welcome to come. It's going to be held on Wednesday, March 12th at 7:30 p.m. at the Blaisdell Concert Hall. No tickets, no RSVP required. Just show up. The students and the pros will delight that evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and the King's Run happening this, just in case, you know, all the traffic and you know how we are in the urban core. It's like, what's going on? So Sunday, March the 2nd from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Expect road closures for the King's Run 10K. More info, email, reach out to info@honolulumarathon.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Farinas. Any other board members? Okay, let's move on to agency reports. HCDA, Ms. Francine Murray could not make it this evening, but she wanted the board to know that the next HCDA board meeting is on March 5th, and their agenda and meeting materials are going to be posted at the end of Thursday this week. Okay, 7.2, Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation. I thought I saw Ms. Pabalan online.
Hi, good evening, Alamana Kaka'ako Neighborhood Board. I don't have an update at this time to report, but I'm open to questions. And also, if the board wants a presentation in the future about city center guideway and stations, you know, we're welcome to presenting at a future neighborhood board meeting.
Thank you. Board members, questions? Community? Okay, Ms. Pabalan, thank you for being here this evening. Honolulu Board of Water Supply. Okay. The time is now 7:32. We are moving on to elected officials reports. Senator Sharon Moriwaki or her office representative.
Good morning, good evening. My name is Joseph Kopshai. I'm from Senator Moriwaki's office. So I'm here to represent her. If y'all have any questions or anything, I'm not promising I can answer it, but I will get it written down and get an answer for you for the future.
Thank you. Board members, questions for Senator Moriwaki's office, Member Vanderbrink?
I just want to ask, I saw about an upcoming legislative town hall. Can you provide any details about that for our neighborhood?
So this town hall is going to be a collaborative town hall with other representatives as well. It's just an opportunity to update everybody within their districts what's actually happening at both the Senate and the House, and give the community an opportunity to provide feedback during this session.
What was the date and time of that? I guess to assist, I did just pull it up here real fast. February 27th, which is this Thursday at 5 to 7 p.m. At the first floor community room of the Hawaii Community Development Authority.
Thank you, Member Vanderbrink. And thank you, Mr. Kopshi, for being here on behalf of Senator Morawaki. Move on. I saw Representative Ikaika Olds online earlier, if he's still on. Representative Olds, you are currently on mute.
Sorry, I love talking to myself. Hi, Ikaika Olds, representative for House District 23. Good evening, everybody. So right now we are having a 5-day recess as the last of the House bills are being heard and getting ready to be sent over from the Senate or to the Senate, and the bills from the Senate to us. We will return to session on Thursday. I will take any questions.
Thank you. Questions for Representative Ikaika Olds, Member Vanderbrink.
Hi, Representative Olds. I just had a question. HB 757 currently with to provide universal school meals. I was just wondering, as the since you're on the Education Committee, if you have any information on how that bill's doing in committee.
So that bill has a lot of support within the House. I think the primary focus for a lot of the members is it's not a lot of money that will have a substantial impact statewide. So for us to be able to help provide the breakfast and lunches for all students would help substantially with the cost of living with a lot of people. As of right now, I'd have to take a quick peek to see where its current status is, but from the last time we were discussing it in the body, there was a lot of positive feedback about it. So I'm looking forward to it passing and being sent over to the Senate.
Thank you. Member Frenius.
Hi, Representative Olds. So you're in recess. You still working, right?
I'm still working. So just today, I was the House of Representatives representative at the Child Homeless Symposium over at Queens Hospital, the first annual. So I was the voluntold member to represent the body. But yes, there are people still working. I, you know, was
Mahalo. I'm just trying to make you chuckle, and it wasn't rhetorical. In the bill that Member Vanderbrink brought up in terms of the meals for the kids, just on a real serious note, is it going to be affected with all the the indiscriminate federal cuts across the board? How is that going to be funded?
So
thank you.
That will really be the magic of Chair Yamashita and the Finance Committee to see how the money is going to be working. We're all pretty aware at the last board meeting, we kind of discussed the current situation and what's happening on the federal level and the potential federal cuts we might see that can impact our economy here. As of right now, it looks like we are a go for it. But again, I would have to take a look to see what finance decided, if it's already been heard, and what kind of amendments or changes that Chair Yamashita had put forward.
Thank you, Representative Old, and mahalo, mahalo, mahalo for all that you do, the advocacy you've done for all the keiki and kapuna. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board members, any other questions for Representative Olds? Okay, committee members? Okay, thank you, Representative Olds, for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Moving on to Representative Adrian Tam.
Aloha, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. As it was all mentioned, we are in 5-day recess. We do still have some bills still alive regarding noise, making sure that debris is cleaned out of our streams, and a bill to continue the pilot program that we currently have of reconnecting people who have become homeless here with family members on the mainland. So that's still happening. And last week, Senator Moriwaki and I had a very productive town hall in at Jefferson Elementary School, and we discuss noise issues, early trash pickup, as well as condominium insurance. And we are just grateful for everyone that showed up. And our office doors are continue to remain open. So if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Representative Tim. Board members, any questions? Community members? Hey, Rep. Tam, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you, Chair.
Representative Kim Coco Iwamoto, or her office representative. Oh, I see Rep. Iwamoto.
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the opportunity to update you. I want to start by answering Member Farinas's rhetorical question that actually members who are on the Finance Committee continue to meet. Even though we're not in, we have a 5-day recess. The recess is just from the floor, from having floor sessions, but it does give the committees an opportunity to finish their business. I also wanted to respond to the board member who asked about school meal 424. While you, I just pulled it up, and it looks like that on February 20th, the Committee on Finance did recommend that the measure be passed with amendments. So it does look like it'll go to the House floor for third reading, which is when every House member gets to vote on whether or not to pass it on to the Senate. And I agree with Representative Old's assessment that it will be supported. But, you know, Member Firminas brings up a really good point about the federal cuts. I'm hoping, I am happy also to report that Chair Yamashita of the Finance Committee is hearing in his Finance Committee bills that would raise revenue to help us with some of the shortfall. I don't know. I hope it's going to be enough. We're not sure how big and deep the cuts will go from the feds, but we need to definitely make sure, find a way. I'm advocating for finding a way to ensure that the wealthiest families who were given huge tax cuts by the Trump's first term in office, and the largest corporations who were also given widened loopholes for tax payments that are tax avoidance or deferrals, that we find a way to say, great, glad that you guys are experiencing these tax cuts on the federal level, on the state, because the feds are cutting off that pipeline of money to the states, that I'm hoping that we're going to raise the taxes on those families who get a tax cut from the feds, and so that their taxes don't go up, their taxes stay the same, but they come directly to Hawaii to pay for all of the payroll and also the services, and in this case, meals. As you know, Title I schools automatically get free lunch and breakfast already. So that's what's happening. Also, I wanted to thank Friends of Kewalis for making the presentation. And thank you. I think Chair Lee brought some of my newsletters, and I believe the newsletters may have a survey or has a reference to a survey that I'm conducting. Hopefully, if you answer the survey regarding how you feel about OHA's Kaka'ako Makai proposal, please let me know. I've been attending, the OHA presentation. I've been attending Friends of Kewalo Basin's presentation. I know HCDA will have presentations in the future, at least listening sessions. I'll go to those as well. I definitely want to hear more from the constituents in my district, specifically about how they feel and how I can best represent them on this issue. Yeah, any questions?
Thank you, Representative Iwamoto, and we thank your staff too for making sure that we got your newsletter this evening. Questions from the board members? Questions from the community? Oh, Member Chang.
thanks for the survey. I'm actually filling it out while you were talking. I'm sure that we pass it on to our chair that she will make sure you get it. So, but yeah, thank you for putting out the survey. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board members? Community members? Okay, I'll move on. I do want to acknowledge Mr. Gishin's question online, so we'll have that on the record. But if the elected officials can take a look at what he typed in there. We have to move down the agenda. So we have Councilmember Tyler DeSantos Tam or his office representative, Robin Hensky, who I believe is online and had left a link earlier. Oh, there you go.
Hi, everyone. Yes, our newsletter's in the chat for February. As previously mentioned, we're going to have a town hall this Thursday. Hope anyone can come out. A highlight, we passed Bill 52, which is the e-bikes bill. I know there's a lot of passionate riders in the community for Kaka'ako, so that was a win. But yeah, I'm here for any questions. I'm available.
Thank you, Ms. Hensky. Questions from the board? Questions from the community for Councilmember Tyler DeSantos Tam's office? Okay, Ms. Robin Hensky, thank you for being here this evening.
Thank you.
Councilmember Scott Nishimoto or his office representative? Is anyone online? Okay, we don't
Hello,
see
can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. Okay. My name is Sophia. I'll be providing the report today for Council Member Nishimoto. So first, Council Member would like to share that he is co-sponsoring his 16th annual free tax preparation clinic on Saturday, March 8th. And it's going to take place at the Hawaii State Library. The Hawaii VITA program and their volunteers will be there to help prepare attendees' taxes for free at the event. We would like to note that there are eligibility requirements and they can also be found on Hawaii VITA's website. And also appointments are required to participate. And I did add the information for that in the chat already. Also, council member would like to invite everyone to subscribe to our weekly e-blast. If you have not already, he sends out weekly e-blasts where you can stay up to date with all of the latest news and events in the District 5 community, which I did already leave that link in the in the chat as well. And lastly, council member Nishimoto will also be at the State and County Town Hall meeting, which is this Thursday on the 27th. And I believe Robin already added all the information for that in the chat. So I think that concludes the report. And if there are any concerns or questions, I'll be happy to pass them over to council member.
Thank you, Sophia. Questions from the board? Questions from the community? Hey, thank you for being here tonight on behalf of Councilmember Nishimoto.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Mr. Ben Sullivan, in person.
Chair Lee. Thank you, Chair Lee. Can you hear me, members of the board? It's good to be back. Sorry I missed last month. Wasn't feeling well in January, but really happy to be here again and connecting and hearing about the issues that are relevant to the Ala Moana Kaka'ako board. I noticed there wasn't any questions on my report from last month, so I'm eager to be here. I know that we took some down from some of the members, so we'll be filtering through those in the next few days and making sure they get distributed to the departments as appropriate. A couple of updates I wanted to share from the mayor's newsletter, and I know you guys all get that via email, so I'll be quick. There was on January 11th in Makiki, there was a groundbreaking of a 90-unit, 6-story project that is affordable housing at Pensacola and Wilder. This project is scheduled to be finished in the spring of 2026. So this is a Bill 7 project that the city supports and another effort by the mayor to put out affordable housing. So progress there. And this one is a little outside the district, but certainly close enough that it may impact you all, or you may be aware and interested in it. So the city has started repairs at Queen Surf seawall at Kapi'olani Park. The project actually is under the supervision of the Departments of Design and Construction, and work is being performed by Sea Engineering, and we expect it to take about 6 months. So as folks know, there was a high storm event a while back that knocked that wall out, and we're getting it fixed. So those are two of the highlights. I want to thank the board for bringing up the ALICE report. We actually just briefed on the 2024 version of the Aloha United Way ALICE report, and the current stat for Oahu is 41% of families at ALICE, so ALICE or below. So as you all know, that designation, as stated, asset limited, income constrained, employed, includes both those that are below and above the federal poverty level, but don't have enough to really to make ends meet in many cases. So really an important conversation and something to be aware of. If there's any questions, I'm happy to take them. I'll look at the notes and again, get the answers back to you as soon as we can. Happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Member Chang.
If you were here when you heard from HPD, a little bit of frustration on their part in which they arrest individuals, especially for the gentleman who has a shop he's had a little tough time with theft. And is there something that we can get somebody to talk to us about what's going on in the prosecuting attorney's office, or is that something that we can just get some information on, or maybe have somebody come to a board meeting and just address that question?
If the board is asking that question, certainly we can enter it to the record. Unfortunately, tonight I'm not prepared. I don't have an answer for you that is going to be all that useful.
Thank you. And I do want to acknowledge Member Chi's presence online at 7:50. Member Vanderbrink.
Thank you. So, Ben, so I know I had some questions regarding the tree that fell along Kapi'olani and Keamoku Street during the storm about 3 weeks ago. And I do want to thank you. I know you provided the FAQ page for the Department of Urban Forestry, which actually did help answer some of my questions. But I did just still have some additional questions here that kind of surrounding mostly safety and who's responsible for the tree. And basically, was it a privately owned tree? Was it a city-owned tree? Because as someone who frequently walks along that area, I am concerned if trees on the private property that are alongside the sidewalk aren't being maintained by private owners, if it in fact was a private owner. So I was just curious if you could find out if that was being managed by the Department of Urban Forestry or if it was a private owner, because where it was, I was kind of concerned. In addition, I did just have some concerns about the cost of the removal of the tree, because I understand in the emergency situation when it falls down that the city does have to go and remove it to clear the roadways. But I'm just wondering, again, if it was a privately maintained tree based on where it was on the property, does the property owners reimburse the city, especially when they come back a second time, remove the tree stump, cut down the other trees in the area? Because I'm just concerned if
Amelia, can you still hear from the audience? I can still see a few screens. I just can't hear anybody else talking.
I can hear you loud and clear. I think it's the in-person camera is not working anymore.
I got you.
Lori just dropped a message saying that they'll resume the meeting shortly due to some tech difficulties.
Very good. Well, I guess while we wait, Mr. James Gleason, is that how you pronounce your last name?
Sorry, yeah, Gishin, yeah.
Gishi. That was a wonderful question, and your statement in the chat to address this issue because son's in law enforcement and he also has the same concern, regarding the prosecution mechanism kind of being a little slow to the draw, let's say. So hoping that the elected officials online will kind of take your suggestions seriously and bring this, into another neighborhood board meeting because I hear the same frustration echoed across a lot of HPD, that they arrest somebody several times and they just get let out. And why aren't the prosecutors prosecuting,
Yeah, I do as well. So I think we have somewhere around 40 to 45 cases currently at the PA's office. 2 of them were prosecuted. The other 43 were nolle prosequi for further investigation. But as much as we push, there's been no response from the supervisors of those departments. And so we're kind of at an impasse at this point. We've been trying to reach out for probably about 3 or so years to work with them and say, what do you need from us? We're happy to come and testify. We're happy to provide any open and shut kind of evidence you need from time of entry to time of exit. I think we have something like, I don't know, 20 or 30 cameras right now in our stores that catch every angle. We have AI loss prevention. We have all kinds of stuff going on. But for us, it's what we tell our staff is, it's the least loving thing is to for the people, not just for the community, but especially for the individuals that have issues that they're struggling with. The least loving thing we can do is to ignore them and then just kick them back to the street, because that's not going to help anybody, especially not them.
Oh yeah, my nephew worked at a store in Waikiki, security, and the policy was if you see somebody shoplifting, just get a good description, but don't touch them, let them go. You know, that kind of policy, which is like, you know, amazing to me that is the policy. Really, let them go. Okay.
Yeah, it has to be though because it's all a liability issue. So even though they might not get prosecuted criminally, um we can get in very, very big trouble in the millions of dollars if we touch one of them, you know, and they decide to uh essentially prosecute us.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but you know, I think easy headway can be made if I guess if I get loud and annoying enough. I don't know.
Oh, and you look at that case a few years ago where the I think it was like the Best Buy security lady grabbed the guy who was walking out with
Sure.
the TV, and she was like a hero, right? The public was like,
Yeah.
that's the way it should be done. Yet, oh, she had all kinds of threats, and you know, she got you know, let go or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah.
like this goes backwards.
Yeah.
But
It's been
thank you for voicing that. No, it resonated with me when you said that. So thank you.
yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
So are they gonna be able to solve this technical issue or?
Yeah, sure.
I see the most recent message from Lori. Seems like as of a minute ago, they're still working on it. So I guess we hold on a little longer and see what happens.
All right, appreciate the update, Dyson.
Of course. Hope everyone's doing well. I know it's maybe outside of our particular group, but it's almost spring break, which I'm very excited for.
Well, we're just having meaningful community discussion here while we wait.
And it's good to see it happening. Thanks for being here, everyone. We appreciate it. I know we do say it here and there that the board appreciates having the community engagement, but we don't say it often enough. We really do appreciate having community come out, whether it's in person or online. It makes a difference. And we see it with the Polaris Dog Park. Right, it all adds up.
I understand that, but my question would be, I understand what the incentive is, but we also need to see if that can be expanded for the locals that currently live here that, applying for jobs that's been waiting and to go in. So I wonder if that can be expanded to increase that or decrease the hiring process, for the locals that's already here.
Yeah, absolutely. I can bring that to the governor's attention. I think this initiative here is selecting certain positions that's just opening it up across the board. So it's not going to be there's hundreds of vacancies or thousands of vacancies across the state, and this is kind of targeting the core ones that they can hire quickly for. I just pulled it. Just under 31 current job titles. But it's also open to general employee, state employee, residents, and anybody else. It's not just targeting federal employees. It's just an expedited hiring process for state employment.
Okay, Mr. New, thank you for your report on behalf of the governor's office. Since we are having technical difficulties, although we still have Olelo running, thank you so much. We are going to adjourn this meeting for this evening at 8:10 p.m.